Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing with Sleezy, the podcast. This is season 2, episode 16, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I want to make a couple of announcements. I do have the Facebook back. The Thailand group that tried to take me down, their reign of terror only lasted 4 days, and I was able to get back in. Thank God for my passport. I was able to send my passport to Facebook and to recover my Facebook account. I had no idea it would take that great lengths to go get Facebook back, but thank God I did. And fuck the people that tried to hack me. But I am back and I got that access, and I'm very excited about that. So I had to make that announcement for sure. And then the second announcement I want to make, it's a little sad announcement, but I am a big wrestling fan. My first guest ever on this show was Sean P., a friend of the guest that I have on today. And we both, me and the guest today have bonded over this. Me and Sean P have bonded over this, and I have a lot of friends that bond over pro wrestling. So I want to say rest in peace to Scott Hall. Scott Hall is someone who passed away from the wrestling. You might know him as Razor Ramon or part of the NWO. Fought on different platforms all over the world in wrestling. But the thing about Scott Hall that I want to bring up is that Scott Hall was the definition of improving your life. The guy literally was a star. He had everything handed to him: women, money, fame. Then he just turned to drugs. His family fell apart. He fell apart. He could barely even talk. I mean, he would go to wrestling events and it looked like he's seizuring out in the ring, foaming from the mouth, just a shit show. Well, cleaned his whole life up, got a relationship back with WWE, did DDP yoga with Diamond Dallas Page, and just had a lot of people in his corner. And and he definitely was, I think, on the way of improvement. I don't know if he had setbacks, I don't know if he had fallbacks, but at the end of the day, he did die from a hip surgery, 3 heart attacks in one night due to a slip blood clot. So just horrible situation. So I don't mean to start off with a sad take, but I had to say something about Scott Hall because he is the definition of not giving up and trying. Unfortunately, his hip surgery took him back. But I want, yes, for sure. So I want to announce my special guest, one of my favorite people in the world, been a huge supporter of mine. I've been a big supporter of his. We met several years ago and have stayed very close. He's been there for me through countless of times, and I've been there for him. Know his family, he knows mine. So the guy's a great guy. His name's Austin Rich. He is a comedian. He is a very famous person, I feel like, on social media and the internet world, in my opinion, as well. And I feel like he not only has fame here in Louisville, has in Chicago and other places, and definitely has traveled with the comedy and has never gave up on the dream. So, Austin, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Yes. Thank you for having me for goddamn time. We've had so many unrecorded conversations, so I'm feeling honored to be on the Vibing with Sleezy podcast. So thank you for having me.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm yes, we've had tons of great conversations. We've dug in deep, many blunt sessions, many fun sessions of just talking, shooting the shit. I actually have been on your show before in the past when you've done shows. You are someone who actually, in my mind, I've always loved podcasts, always listened to them, but you have opened me up to the podcast world a few years back. I mean, you're the one that really was always pushing me to say, hey, you should give that a shot. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Give it a shot. I finally fucking gave it a shot. So I really appreciate all the motivation you did give, but you definitely were someone first, and it didn't even have to do with just even comedy. You just would talk about life issues, politics, anything going on, sometimes having Sean P on stuff, but you do all these going live on social media and stuff like that. How important has live been, do you feel like, to not only friendships, but just your brand?
So Sean P and I started out doing it, and it took off for us, man. And just unfortunately, the way that life goes, different responsibilities and obligations that people have, it's not so much that big of a part of my life now. But I can't sit here and say that it hasn't been beneficial to me. Like I've been blessed enough to have a video go viral on Facebook, not YouTube. So just in case everyone, that's the number one question I got, you know, whenever I tell people I have a viral video, like, oh, how much money did you make? It's like, none, because Zuckerberg ain't cutting me no check. So absolutely none. But no, it is cool, man. And I feel with the advances in technology, you know, there's so many streaming apps. I mean, you have Twitch, you have all these ones that people play games on. What's the one that I have? I can't remember what it's called, but I never use it, obviously. And but no, man, going live is just like anything else. You know, if you want to build an audience, it's something that you have to be consistent with. You have to have something that's entertaining and, you know, thought provoking. And like I said, and I'm not saying that Sean P and I were we fucking invented it, but I really do feel like we got the ball rolling as far as, you know, doing podcasts in Louisville. And, you know, like I said, we had taken off a little bit from there. You know, we would have a great amount of viewers and feedback. And eventually it got to the point where somebody wanted us in their studio recording our Facebook lives. And I would love to get back to doing it, to be honest with you. I do enjoy having thought-provoking conversations, and this is for everybody out there. So let's put a pin in me pushing you to do the podcast. I've always said very, very, very commonly that Sleezy Eric Clark is one of the most interesting fucking people in the fucking world. Like,
I appreciate it.
I've been honored enough to like be there firsthand in person to hear your stories and like your experiences and your journeys. So to me, it was just like, it was me not being selfish, essentially. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I want the world to know. I want the world to know of Sleezy E. Come, look, gaze upon him, hear his tales, and experience what he has been through. And so I've always said that you needed to be somebody that's either a personality or on TV or something. Like, people need to know who you are, because there is absolutely never a dull moment at all with Sleezy. I can attest to that.
I appreciate that. I'm very honored for you to say that. And I will say the same for you. You always are a great person to communicate to. You always have everyone's back. The people that you are loyal to, you're very loyal. But yes, you did motivate me. I mean, there was a lot of phone calls, a lot of FaceTime sessions where, you know, you gave me the motivation. And I swear it was like one phone call you gave me, it gave me chills. You were just like, dude, let's do this. Let's get it. You're like, this is your mission. This is like what you need to do. And you know, what was great was not only did you introduce me to that platform, but, you know, introduced me to Sean P and others. It's been great. And I feel like I've gotten fan bases from people that follow you, and also people that in general just like podcasts in general. Something that has blown my mind with podcasts, and I don't know if you've had this experience with your lives, your videos, even your comedy in general, is that I love getting a fan or hearing from somebody, even if they're just a listener, that you never expected in the world. They could literally be the most opposite from you, the most different in all aspects. You haven't talked to them in years, but getting those type of fans, that's what proves to me that, hey, it's working somehow.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is just staying consistent with it, because Sean and I started out doing it just for fun and just for shits and giggles, because at the time we worked third shift. So we would get off at like 8 in the morning or something like that. And I'm just not the type of person that can go home and go to sleep. So I have to like wind down, you know, have my little, you dig, or whatever. And so we just started going live from there, man. And it turned into, you know, it was always fun for us, but it actually started to turn into something that was getting some attention. And to piggyback on what you said, man, one of the coolest moments of my life, somebody recognized me at a gas station up here, up in Illinois. Yeah, or I think it was Indiana, borderline Indiana, Illinois. But they're like, hey, aren't you the comedian dude or whatever, from the Thanksgiving video? Because I had my viral video was the only white person at a predominantly Black Thanksgiving. He was like, oh, aren't you the dude from there? And man, I was, for the rest of that day, man, I was 7'2". I'm fairly certain that I grew a whole foot that day. So it's definitely cool, man. And it keeps you motivated. It definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. The experience I've had recently was I worked the Louisville Arcade Expo. I do it every year. I talked about it on my last show. Shout out to Louisville Arcade Expo. Always take care of me. Always pay me good to do security. Tons of people come out gaming. Also want to shout out to like the special needs community, not just one specific special need, but just autism and different things. A lot of people that come to this Arcade Expo are autistic or have a special needs situation. I work front security. A lot of people like to share their personal story with you or their parents. So it's really cool what the expo does for these kids. Some of these kids don't do shit the whole year. Stay inside, don't have a social life. Nobody really talks to them. They come here to the expo and it's just like paradise. I mean, I literally heard a kid say, "This is paradise to me." And
That's
he
awesome.
probably literally did have autism. Like he was taught me and he just had speech issues and just it's just really good feeling to see. And so shout out to the expo for doing that. They definitely take care of people and let those kids do contests, and it's really dope. But I was out there and it's a local event here in Louisville. So a few people stop by, I see friends, hey, what's up? I see people with their kids, whatever. But it's just crazy. Like I ran into a few people I haven't seen in over a decade. And they're like, hey, what have you been up to besides the podcast? And I'm like, wait, what, you listen to the podcast? And then it gets to a point where like I ran into, so Joella's Chicken is a huge chicken brand here in Louisville. I think it's got multiple locations. Well, the owner of it, his name's Bruce Rosenblatt. I call him the Chicken Man because when he talks sometimes like he's very, very fast, very energy, very high. I mean, just very positive guy, all about the hot chicken. I walk in, so I DoorDash. I love to DoorDash on the side. It's literally one of my favorite things to do. I'm weird, but I love it. I'm dashing. I pull into Joella's, and I'm off the other day, so I'm like, fuck it. It's a nice day. I'll DoorDash all day. Roll into Joella's, and I'm like looking at my phone, packed house. He's like, is that Sleezy E? Sleezy. And this is the owner of Joella's, a multi-millionaire brand owner, like has opened up other restaurants, doing great in his life. And for him to have that reaction, and I walk up to the counter to get the food, and he's like, hey, he's like in regular clothes. He's like, hey, the podcast. He's like, the Sleazy Man. I see you're doing the podcast. I mean, that's cool shit to me. Like, that is the moments where nobody even fucking witnesses it. It's not like I go home and put a Facebook status up about it, announce to the world. I told my girlfriend, she laughed, but that's about as far as the extent it went. Like, yes, I'm sharing on the show, but those are the feelings I love. And that is where, if you keep pushing it, that people will listen. It's almost like that fancy saying from history. If you build it, they will come. I mean, it's very, very famous, like way of thinking. And I think a lot of people have thought that way. Sometimes they don't come, I will admit, but I feel like you said, the consistency, the push, that's where you got to go. And that's something I want to bring up with you. Your push has been amazing, man. I know you're just like me. You're a perfectionist. I feel like we want to strive to always be the best and work hard. And that's what I admire about you. With your comedy, man, I'll say this. You've had times where you've had the lows, you've had the highs, just like me. I've gone through a lot of lows. I've gone through a lot of highs, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And you're not too either. And that's what I love about you, that you don't put your pride up. You keep it real with people. And with this comedy thing, this journey, man, I can't say enough how much I respect you for not number one, not giving up, but how much you've grown and how much better you're getting. How long have you been doing comedy? I want to really dive into how the beginning to where you're at now.
I think, and I'm absolutely deplorable with time, but I'm going to say about 6 years. I've done it with maybe a little bit of time taking off in between there, so about 6 or 7 years, maybe something like that. And it really started, man. It as you know, I do voices all the time, just randomly, just out of nowhere. I used to play basketball up at the Northeast YMCA. Shout out to Middletown, I guess, or St. whatever. And
Northeast,
Northeast, baby. You know why?
I was a Southeast Y kid, so shout out to all the Ys. We'll just give the local Ys a shout out.
Shout out to 6 Mile. I went there. I remember I told you I thought you were the kid from my childhood that was like, I'm gonna write that in my book or something like that. Yeah. So I would be at the YMCA playing ball all the time and just do voices like if I was playing or whatever, just like randomly. And this guy, Lance Bradley, I believe is his name. He was at the time in getting into like doing independent films or like filming his own stuff and commercials and everything like that. And I think one of the first ones he wanted me to do was the Cat Williams or the Bill Cosby or something like that, to where I was just doing a commercial. And so he brought like something to record up to the actual YMCA, and we did it in the lobby. I was just doing stupid voices or whatever. And then after that, it was Malcolm Stott actually had got me booked, or not booked, but like on a show with the person who inspired me the most to do this, Justin Tab. Well, second, my dad inspired me more than
Justin Tab.
Yeah, shout out, just won a big award, a comedy award. So shout out to him. He's definitely, man. When I say that's another person that you'd love to talk to, man. His grind is absolutely inspirational and it's motivational in more ways than one. Like, he's done movies, he's done short films, he's done, his comedy stuff. And then I even think he did noodle modeling, where you like just poured a bunch of ramen noodles on and got a bath. But that's neither here nor there. I think that may be on his OnlyFans. But no, man, Justin Tab definitely paved the way for me. And after, like I said, Malcolm Stott got me on a show with Justin Tab, and I believe it was the King's Lounge or King's something, that's in a very weird spot. If you're going towards Fern Creek from Bardstown Road and you go over that overpass, it's under there. It's like, no, it's Casey's Lounge, I think. Casey's Lounge.
Okay.
No, never had heard of it before that day, whatever, but it's under the overpass. It's under the overpass, and it was just like off in the cut or whatever. And everything, the rest is history, from there. Like the first laugh I got when I got up there, man, it was, I don't know what heroin feels like, but I'm fairly certain it's up there with getting your first laugh, legit laugh, and just thinking to myself, man, like I want to do this. This is my drug now, so.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I love hearing that. And I know that's kind of, you've had an awesome journey. You've also done comedy traveling wise. What are some of the favorite places you've ever done comedy that's outside of Louisville or Chicago?
Well, anything outside of Louisville is better than doing comedy in Louisville, because the majority of people in Louisville don't really support, and they kind of have their own cliques and this, that, and the other, but it's neither here nor there. But just getting to do anything at all has been awesome. Like anything on the road, that is. And it's such a catch-22, because like I'll look back and am I still here? Am I still here? I'll look back and I'll see how much I've grown from there, and like how essentially bad I was at the time. So in saying that, going to FAMU down in Florida was pretty fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that was definitely one of the best experiences that I've had as far as like getting to travel. You know what I mean? Like, I went down to Florida and just seeing the campus and all the students in there. It was awesome, man. Like, it's like that every time. Like any place that I go, that's a new place to try to do comedy. It's like an obstacle, but it's like a challenge to myself. So it's invigorating, and it's fun, and it's scary. It's everything in between. So it's awesome going on the road and doing comedy, man. It really is, especially going somewhere where nobody knows you. I love that aspect.
And see, something that you and I can relate to, like one of my highs in life too is I love just people hearing content in general. Either they are hearing my podcast, they've heard my Sleezy music, they've read my poetry, or even a possibility of just hearing my name in general. So yeah, I'll be honest, it gives you a good feel. It makes you feel good. But something that's always been a high to me is just putting that content out. Just, I don't give a fuck about the money in regards, like, yeah, I love to get paid for this. I love to make money off it, of course. But I'm saying I love the feeling of just hearing someone say, hey, I downloaded that. Hey, I listened to that. Hey, I gave that a shot. And especially when it's people like you said that are outside on the road or out of this country. That's why I get such a high seeing other continents download this or stream it. I feel like that's a big part. And I feel like when you're a creative person in general, that's how you feel as well, is that like you just want people to hear you in general. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, give me the blunt truth. I don't even care if you really truly maybe don't feel it, not even a fan. Just appreciate people listening and supporting. So yeah, I definitely am right there with you. And I think like that's awesome. Like, two, that you had this goal, that you just did some voices at the Y, you started doing stand up, you start meeting people, you're networking, you're doing the online, but then it's like you never would have thought at the Y that you would be, doing a show at FAM, Florida A&M, where I never thought I would have an international guest on the show or anything like that. So it's always cool to hear people's story, because it really does always start from the bottom, like to the top. I mean, no matter if you truly made it or not, it always has started where it's an idea, and then it's where you go with that idea.
And I think that's what's so frustrating with doing stuff now, is because we have the technology for something to be shared all across the world in a split second. And it's just, to be honest, man, like I had to do a lot of growing up with myself, as far as me being so angry and feeling cheated by people, who wouldn't even share the post. Like I vividly remember, like I would make these very angry posts about people not sharing anything, and then it makes sense, like you can get upset at somebody not sharing your stuff, but then they'll share a celebrity stuff, you know what I mean? And especially it's people that it's something it's easy to do. And it just rubbed me so much the wrong way, man. Like when I was I'm gonna say even within a year, like I've done a lot of growing up and maturing, as far as like what I expect from people and like what I know I'm going to get from people. You know what I mean? Like it really did take me checking myself and, just being like, people are going to be shit anyway. I'm not going to beg people to beg to share something or anything like that, because at the end of the day, to me, I feel like I personify the little red hen, which is a kid's story. It's pretty much like, so the little red hen is like, who's going to help me with this part of making the bread, of collecting the whatever? And everybody's like, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, well, who's going to help me chop this up? And everybody's like, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, well, who's going to help me bake this? And everybody's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then the bread finally comes, and the bread is nice and fresh and delicious and whatever. And everybody's like, oh, I want some of that. And the chicken's like, or the little red hen is basically like, fuck off, you weren't there to help me with any of this, so you don't get any of the bread. So to me, that's kind of what I try to keep my mind on. I know that people are going to be shitty, even close friends. I have close comedian friends that don't share any of my shit, but they'll share somebody else's, and I could write them and be like, hey, why aren't you doing this? Or blah, blah, blah. But like I said, I truly believe that I'm going to make it doing this. So I want them to see me at the top. I want them to share all my shit when other people do, because there's a long-standing not rumor, but I guess like a way about Louisville, man, or something that I've always said about Louisville, dude, is like, you have to go be the shit somewhere else before Louisville fucks with you at all. And that's why it's so important for me, and it's so exhilarating to me to try to get my foot in the door up here in Chicago. Because if I'm good up here in Chicago, I'm pretty much can be good anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? So I want those people to not share my stuff. I want those people to not support me or to be in the shadows hating or not or wishing that I don't make it. You know what I mean? I want them to continue what they're supposed to do, because when I make it, it's just going to be a you know, like Nipsey said, circle got smaller, everybody can't go, you know. So
no, and I love that thought. I love that thought. Yeah, and rest in peace to Nipsey. And I want to piggyback off something you said regarding, you know, the Louisville statement. I believe that in a way too. And the reason why is that, you know, I left and went to Nashville for 4 years. It was probably the best decision I made. Met tons of people, opened up my circle of networking possibilities, and probably created some of the best stuff I've ever did. I mean, and also landed me friends internationally, other places. So I can't, number one, say get out of Louisville. If you lived in Louisville forever your life, or Louisville's a great city, great place for his family. It has its perks. However, explore. There's so much else in the world. You don't have to be stuck in one reality. So I always felt like it helped me. However, I do believe that in a way. You know, a lot of people, we do have stars. We do have people that have made out of this city. There's tons of talent in this city. But you're right. A lot of times the exposure comes from Atlanta, Chicago, New York, LA, when people do break out and go to these places. So I'm right there with you, and I totally get it. And I feel like with my podcast, it's working, it's delivering. I know there's others out in the city that are doing it. I can't thank everyone enough for the support and love that I get. But I also feel you on the whole sharing thing. It's not that I take it personal or take offense if someone didn't share or like or react. I get not everyone's on at one time, but it does bother me too sometimes when you see someone maybe share something of someone else or share something else when you're like, hey, I thought we were close to that, you know, or they say, but also at the same time, I don't even take it personally more, because the way I view it is this: I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, and I'm right there with you. I'm more on a selfish solo path. I know who supports me. I know who cares. I know what the future holds. I know what I've already accomplished. You've already accomplished tons. Even though you might not be on HBO or anything big, you've accomplished tons. I might not be on fucking a streaming service paying me or anything like that. But however, I feel like I've accomplished a bunch from what I've done. That's the way I view life. And that's the way I feel with life now, because a lot of times it is hard to take things personal, to take that into account of oh, are they judging me? Or, hey, are they not feeling this? But then I also realize sometimes at the end of the day, people are in their own little world. I mean, I can get that way, but I think everyone needs to do better just in supporting in general. And also more people just got to be open-minded. And I think people need to see the grind and the focus, but I also agree with you as well. There is a lesson learned at the end of the day. You kind of got to be there from day one, or at least get on and see and support, because it is going to be, if one of you I got famous, there is only a certain amount you really remember people wise, because it's not that you want to be that way, but you worked your ass off. I'm working on my brand, you're working on your brand. So at the end of the day, I love all the support. I love what anyone's ever said. I'll remember people. I'll be nice, but I'm the same way. I will remember that corner of who was there.
There's people that I have met, not met personally, physically, that I am best friends with and who are my biggest supporters. You know, I could rattle off a few names of just people who have been there from day one, just seeing me online. You know what I'm saying? And then have shown more loyalty. I mean, fucking Brittany Reese, Faith C. You got Jenny Montano, who's my big sister now. I mean, I have so many people. Ecclesia. I have so many people that I recognize and remember from Facebook more than I do the people that I've actually interacted with in real life, because these people show me true support. They show me true love, you know what I mean? And I want to remember those people, and I want those people to know that I remember them and that they mean something to me, because those people doing that for me means more than I'll ever be able to articulate, you know what I mean? And especially because, like I just said, dude, you have people that you rub shoulders with every single day, man, that I remember inboxing people, hey, can you share this? Please, can you share this? Like, I know you're there. The green thing is on. Can you fucking share and it would just make me, I would just get angrier, more angry. But then I took a step back and I realized the people who are doing this constantly, the people who do share my shit all the time, you know what I mean? These are people I've never met before in my fucking life. And that's what I started to appreciate more. And that's why I wanted to branch out, go make it somewhere else before I even expect Louisville to support me. You know what I mean? Because people always ask now, like they'll off back of, like doing like the Laugh Factory and Riddles up here and anything in Chicago. Oh, when you doing your next show in Louisville? Never. You know what I mean? Like never. If I not anytime soon, because nobody there's going to support. And I mean, unless you're paying me well, I'm not coming, because nobody's going to be out there to support. There's not going to be good promotion for the show. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things, man, that seem so simple and that could be beneficial to everybody, and just people just don't want to, because it's you, or because you're doing something that they want to do, so they don't want you to succeed. Like, but that
laziness sometimes,
that is Louisville in a nutshell to me, man. It's just like like I just picture people just like, I don't want him to make it, but as soon as somebody somewhere else like, oh yeah, man, I've always been cool, like, no, I don't want that anymore. So
and with Louisville too in general, I've been very blessed to been a person that, like, being in public school, I was able to meet a lot of people in different neighborhoods, different areas, and that's where I like to socialize around. And so I like the present Louisville. I like what my time has been in Louisville. I guess you would say my legacy is some sort. However, there's more out there for me. I want to venture out. Yeah, I mean, it's like I want to live somewhere else. I want to move. I want to go other places, because sometimes, like even with season 2 of this show, I'm having more guests on internationally from other states, from other places, because that's the route I want to go. Because it's not that people aren't interested in Louisville. I've had tons of guests in Louisville. There's others out there still I want to have, but it's just like, you're right. It's great to touch these other markets, because sometimes that Louisville market can only hit a certain plateau. I want to get those other ones.
Certain plateau. That is, and purposely, like, it's not an accident. It's people literally going, like, here's the share button. No, not today. That's what it is in a nutshell, man. Like everyone, the old saying, like crabs in a bucket, this, that, and the other. Anybody that has something positive to counter that with, I get it. You know what I mean? I truly understand, like you can't listen to what people say. You got to make it your own way. You got to do this, and this. But man, dude, at the end of the fucking day, dude, it would be nice just to get a little bit of fucking help. It really would. I don't want to think this way about Louisville. I love, like, that's my hometown. Yeah. But man, if I had to put my betting dollar on a city to not support me, it would be my hometown. You know what I mean? Like if I had to be like, hey, X amount of people in Louisville share this and I'll get to open up at the Yum Center, I wouldn't expect it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just gonna expect nobody to share it from Louisville. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll say this. It's like I feel the love in Louisville from the people that I do know, and I'm like I said again, I appreciate the time I've had, and I've had a great time. I mean, I working for Leo, doing a lot of the stuff I've done in Louisville. I've got to venture out and do it all. However, sometimes that's where I hit this point, and like I said, a plateau just a minute ago. It's that I feel like I've done it all. Like in regards of like there's more people I want to see. There's more things I want to do. There's other places I want to record. So it's definitely doing this kind of stuff, like podcast work, multimedia work, comedy, like you're doing, anything in the entertainment spectrum. It's the internet, like recording on all these platforms or doing YouTube, anything. It helps so much, but it also makes you so motivated to go other places and see what else is out there, because the world is so fucking huge. And I'm almost the type of person where it's not being selfish, but it's like I want to conquer it all. Like I wanted to touch every part of it. So I'm right there with you. I'm definitely grinding just like you are. And at the end of the day, I want Louisville support. It's my hometown. I love it. But no matter what, people that support, they'll be there. But I'm ready to see what the future holds and see what other people do.
And I fully believe that you are I don't know the best analogy, but just one of these fish that grew out of their aquarium. You know what I mean? That like you're on your Finding Nemo shit. Like you don't belong in a dentist office in an aquarium. You know what I mean? Like you belong in the ocean type thing. So I'm 1,000% backing you on that one. And to piggyback on what you said earlier, I do say for anyone that's watching, I do say get the fuck out of Louisville. If you are a creative, if you in or anything that you're wanting to do, I'm not saying you have to move forever. I'm not saying to like just uproot your life and go, but like, man, go out and try different things in different cities. You know what I mean? Like go do what you're doing in a different city. Like if you're an artist, if you do graffiti or whatever, dude, I bet fucking LA would blow your mind to see the graffiti there, or the graffiti here in Chicago, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like the art that's here, whatever. But I do 1,000% support and push for people to get out of Louisville. And I think that's pretty much anywhere that you feel like that you've outgrown. That was a huge thing to me, man, to go somewhere else and to see that other people are doing this as well. Better talent, more skilled, more experience, this, that, and the other. So it is great to get out of Louisville. You know what I mean? It's and again, not trying to shit on Louisville, but it's a breath of fresh air, man. Like it's definitely a breath of fresh air.
No, and I don't think you're shitting on it at all. You're keeping it real, and that's what I love about you. You always keep it real, and like I said, I love Louisville, and I'm still here. I'm still having a good time. I'm still enjoying it. However, I am getting to the point where I'm hungry for more. Like Anthony Bourdain said, I did the national route. I went to Europe. Like I've tried these routes and just traveling in general. I mean, I just went to Detroit recently. I had a fucking blast, and it just the feel to be out of the state, go somewhere else, explore. I mean, life in general, it's just all about exploration. I mean, my girlfriend the other day texted me. She's like, I'm just hungry to explore other places. Like I'm the same way. It's good to explore because I don't want to be old and look back and be like, I never went here. I never did that. I've talked to older people who said they were completely comfortable being in the same fucking spot their whole entire life. That to me, that's not me. That's an old school mind away. That's a stuck mindset. That's why I have so many friends overseas at places. I'm always exploring. I'm always trying to put stuff out. I mean, I love pen pals. I love anything about that because I want to see the world. I want to see other cultures. I'm open minded, and I just think that's the way you have to be in life because you think sometimes you know it all and you're comfortable in that one spot. You don't want to get that way. You want to keep being hungry for more and seeing it because it keeps your interest level going. And that way, I feel like you're going to be interested in other things. That's how you find hobbies and creative outlets. So it's all about how you make it. And like you said, I think we're all learning, we're all growing, we're all maturing. But it's really where you take that ball and navigate it with. I mean, like you're the point guard of your life.
You know what I mean? Life's a garden, man. You dig, you make it work for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, you're a point guard to. I mean, seriously, you're the captain, and it's just you got to see where you can take it, and as long as you don't give up, I mean, that's all that really matters. Because I believe the same thing for you. You're gonna make it. I'm gonna make it, and God damn it, we're gonna die trying. I'll say that. So that's what's 100% about us. Now, I want to talk a little bit too about what are some of your favorite comedians? I don't know if we've ever had this talk, like not local. I want to know like who were the stars that you grew up on? Like who were you a big fan of?
The shout out to my dad, Bob Bryant, when and don't get me wrong, I watched my fair share of cartoons and stuff too, but when kids were like watching cartoons, or like their parents would put on like a kiddie show or whatever, my dad, we were fucking watching like the Dean Martin comedy roasts. I was watching fucking stand up. I was watching like these different type of like almost like roasting or Friars Club or like comedy set up from like legends and this, that, and the other. So my comedic palette comes from such a diverse group of comics, man. So at the very, very top, I don't want this to ever get misconstrued. For me, at the very tippity top of the fucking mountain is Richard Pryor. Absolutely 1000% Richard Pryor. Now, just rattling off a bunch of different names that you probably won't hear all the time. Like if you were to ask like one of these newer comedians or something like that, Bill Hicks, fucking George Carlin, Mitch Hedberg, Frank Caliendo.
Those legends. Yeah.
Who?
It's a lot of those legends.
Dude, Frank, like I said, Frank Caliendo with the voices and impersonations.
Oh, he's so impressive.
Yeah. Damn, who's the dude from Police Academy that I can't think of his name? Is it Winslow? Michael?
Yeah. What is his name? I know who you're talking about though. Yeah.
Bruh, that dude is like God, like that to me. And I pride myself on being good with voices and sounds or whatever. That dude is on another level. That dude, like he did like a cover for like rock and roll song, did like multiple instruments, shit like that. So to me, man, that was my bread and butter, my upbringing. You know what I mean? Was watching comedy. And like my dad is one of those who can't teach type of people when it comes to comedy. Like he is a student of comedy. You know what I mean? Like he would talk to me about how the person performed or like what they would do with the crowd, you know what I mean? Or like their banter with such and such or whatever. Like it's almost like watching basketball film, you know what I mean? Like my dad and I would like, he would like break down some of those things and explain to me, you know, those comedic aspects, you know what I mean? So it would make me a better comic, you know what I mean? That also being said, dude, it wasn't just TV, man. Like when this was right before CDs or right at the time of CDs, dude. I was listening to the Bob and Tom cassette tapes with my dad in the fucking car, bro. Like we were listening to Harry Carey and you know all their Bob and Tom. Dude, I was listening to shit like that when I was in the car, man. So it was comedy has always been something that has brought me a lot of joy, and to be honest, man, it wasn't something where I was just like, yep, I'm going to do that one day. Like basketball was my first passion, love, everything. So to me, it was fun to do voices, or it was fun to like come up with a character or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just something as trivial as fucking going through a drive-through, you know what I mean? Ordering in two different voices, you know, just like, hello, can I get a number 5? No tomato. I would also like something like that. And then going to the window, like, you make sure there ain't no ice in there, right? I don't want no ice in there. And it's like seeing people just go.
That's fucking incredible.
Like, dude, are you by yourself? And I was like, yeah, what you mean? Like, wasn't there an Australian dude? Or what? I was like, and I'd be like, no, whatever. And I get my food and I'm like, as a matter of fact, there was an Australian mate in here. G'day. And then just speed off or something. You know what I mean? Like I would do shit like that.
I love that.
Response that I got was from a White Castle up here in Merrillville, Indiana. I did an English accent. I was just being stupid and did an English accent. And then I came up to the front and there this fucking huge black chef from the back with one tooth missing came up, was like, bro, you from over the water? And I was like, I know what you mean. I was like, I know what you mean. But he's like, bro, you speak English? And like, man, what language is that? I'm like, it's still English, but it's just in a different accent. Like I said, getting those reactions, like those are the little things for me, like here and there, man, that make me love doing shit like this. You know what I mean? Like I'll never get that, bro. He came all the way from the back, like, bro, you from over the water? And I was like,
I mean, that's what I love about prank phone calls still. I mean, I'm 32 years old, but I still fucking roll over a prank phone call. I mean, just voices in general, it makes anyone laugh. I mean, it's so good. I mean, you know, and you bring up Caliendo, you know, his John Gruden, before Gruden got axed and all that stuff. I remember he went to like a Raiders training camp like meeting or something, and he just comes in dressed as John Gruden and starts doing the voice. And I'm like, not only is he good with the voices, he just has the balls to not give a fuck. Like, motherfucker,
Yep.
you're in this room and I'm gonna make fun of you,
Oh,
and
dude.
everyone's gonna laugh and know it's you, but I might even be better than you, kind of deal.
Oh, dude, you have to commit to that character, bro. You have to, almost like method acting. Like you can't let anybody get you off of your game with that one. So in saying that, dude, it is fun, man. It's fucking exhilarating to transform or to take over a voice or a character or a persona like that and get like sorry. And like I said, to get those reactions from people, you know what I mean? So that like it's almost like I'm looking like, are they buying it type thing? And then when they do, all right, cool. Now I'm locked the fuck in. So it's fun as shit, dude. Like that is I will say that, man, it's fun being able to do voices and do all that stuff. I just wish I could get into like some voiceover shit and actually get paid for it, not just be a fucking weirdo that does voices.
No, you're definitely not a weirdo, dude, because voice is just fun. I mean, they're just fun. And another comedian that I've always liked, I've been a big fan of, is Patton Oswalt. He's somebody that has done a lot of good comedy over the years. And he has I think it's called my weakness is strength or something, like one of his old stand-up albums. But I listened to it, and he includes voices in his thing. Like, he'll do female voices and other voices, and they're top of the line. But one of the funniest things he ever did, and when I'm full, like after eating, like especially if someone's like, "Hey, you full?" or like, "Hey, was that good?" I'll say I'm B word fat, or I feel B word fat, and it's something I got from Patton Oswalt. And what's hilarious is he was talking about how he's reached a B word fat level in his life, where it's like you go in, you order something, you're like, bagel, bump, basketball, blah. And so the way he was doing it was so fucking funny. And so now it's like, I'll have a bagel and I'll go, I'm going to Brugger's Bagel to become B word fat. But I mean, it's like my own little inside joke in my head. But Patton Oswalt, the way he said it was so fucking funny, because now, when I'll be honest, when someone larger talks to me and they're saying a shitload of B's or talking about basketball, I'm picturing that segment. And so that's what stand-up can do. One comedy bit can replay in your head for the rest of your life over stuff. I mean, things that Chappelle did, things that tons of different stand-up comedians have done. Not even just the main stars. I mean, local ones, other people. I mean, it's just you get that one bit, and when it replays in your head, it's just like, that's a joke that, in my opinion, lands, because you're playing it in your life.
I will never look at escalators without laughing again because of Mitch Hedberg. You know, he said escalators can never break; they can just become stairs. He said, I saw a sign like, "Sorry for the convenience." This is like, you know what I mean? Like he forever changed that. Like twin size beds. He's like, when I was a kid, I used to lay in my twin size bed and wonder where my brother was. Dude, like shit like that. Fucking another one. You've lived in an apartment before, and you sometimes you can hear the neighbors, they're loud or whatever. He's like, man, I had a neighbor who didn't like my music because I played my music loud. I like loud music. So whenever I played loud music, he would bang on the door. Well, he would bang on the wall, and I would fuck with him, and I would go around. I don't know. I don't know if there's a door on that end, but over here, there's nothing. Oh, dude, like when I tell you, I think of comedy bits and jokes all fucking day. Like I can look at anything and there's a comic bit that will remind me of it, man. So that's what I hope to do, man. I hope to hear somebody tell my joke out loud one day, or say, like talk about one of my bits or something like that. That's awesome to me.
Yeah, and that's just what I love. I mean, also like YouTube celebrities. I mean, they all have a bunch of videos, like funny. I'm not talking about YouTube celebrities like Jake Paul and all that shit. I'm talking about like comedians, like Ed
Yeah.
Bassmaster, people like that. Like, yeah, I love those kind of videos, but like the Ed Bassmaster, the Poot Master, the Fart Master thing, where he's just got the fart machine. That is, anybody could do that, but just the way he does it, and like you said, it's almost that acting of just not giving a fuck. When he goes around Times Square and he's just farting, and the fucking even the police and firefighters are laughing, and the fucking random people just standing around like they're taking tickets or laughing, like, it's fucking hilarious. I mean, he can go around and do that. So seeing somebody like do that kind of shit, it's not just funny that he's farting. It's funny because he's literally like looking over there, like looking at the movie times, and he's farting for 18 people. I mean, it's great. It's just that's what makes it. And so a lot of times with comedy, people don't realize it is acting. It is about the delivery, but it's also too of like, you got to make it work. I mean, you can't just sit there and go fart. It's like, all right, we get it. You farted.
See, that was the catch-22 with the pandemic, man. I was actually going to add on to that. I have nothing against them per se. I don't have anything against like these YouTube comics and like these comedians, whatever, that do the fucking voiceovers or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, these motherfuckers are getting millions and millions and millions of views. So maybe it's a little bit of jealousy. I don't know. But at the same time, like to me, it doesn't seem to take that much or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that funny to me sometimes. But in saying that, man, with the pandemic, dude, like in some instances, you do have to try different brands of comedy, like making the videos. I fucking hate making videos, Sleezy. I gotta be honest with you. I don't like them. I don't think I'm a funny video maker. I don't think that I'm funny on a lot of these videos that I've put up. To me personally, I'm also a very big critic and hard on myself. But man, I had to, I had to start putting out some content. I had to, do something to try to stay relevant, or like to have something that's out there at all. You know what I mean? So in some instances, man, like even though I don't like some of those things, like there are times like where I'm going to have to try my hand at it, or like do my own version of shit like that. Like, you're not going to see me come out with like a whole gang of like voiceover videos and like oh, a puppy and a turtle, like, you're gonna bite me, oh no, you know what I mean, like shit like that. You're not gonna see me doing that. But if it's something that's gonna benefit me, and if I can do it in my own way or something like that, and it's kind of the only way I can get content out, like, yeah, man, sometimes you got to bite the bullet and you got to try different shit like that.
Yeah, and that's what I love, man. It's like, you got to sometimes get uncomfortable to get your point across. So I mean, that's in every aspect of life. That's with work. That's with just living your life in general. I mean, sometimes you don't want to go to the fucking grocery store, but if you're fucking hungry, you got to go to the grocery store. That kind of basic. So it's all about just pushing yourself, and that's what I love about you, man, and admire about you, is because no matter what, that's the biggest thing about you, man. You got that push, you got that drive, and you know how that fire's lit, and you just want to keep growing that flame. Something about different types of comedy I was going to bring up with you is I brought this up with my guest from Wales, Emma. British humor is a big.
Wales.
Brought up the British voice. I love British humor. I think the Mighty Boosh, Oh Greg. I mean, have you ever got into any British humor? Not even saying perform, but just watching it, enjoy it.
Dude, Oh Greg used to creep me the fuck out, dude. It still does. I just try not to think about
it. Hi there, pleased to meet you. What do you want in my waters? I'm old Greg.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm like, I don't like it. But yeah, British comedy, dude. I used to watch fucking was the Kids in the Hall? Were any of them British? Like they were. So that was
I feel
one.
Like that was British at some point. Actually, I'm gonna look that up really quick, because Kids in the Hall was on that like IFC. I feel like.
I love that.
Yeah.
Kids in the Hall awesome. Obviously, fucking Monty Python, John Cleese and the boys or whatever. That's always been funny to me.
Canadian Kids in the Hall are Canadian.
Okay. So sorry. So
and Canada does have great comedy too. Yes.
I'm sorry. But yeah, I mean, just touching on international comedy in general. Like, I mean, that one right there, Kids in the Hall, the Monty Python on the BBC. You know what I mean? Like what is her name? Who's the chick who I should know her fucking name, and I feel embarrassed not knowing it. Who's the chick that is M in the James Bond movies?
Oh,
I'm talking about.
Yeah, that is that ends up being
When you
that's Judy Blanche.
Judy, God damn it! I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Judy. If you ever
Judy Dench, excuse me. Judy Dench, James Bond legend, dude. She was in the movies from 95 to 2012. That's how many Bonds she did.
So she had this show that I used to watch with my grandma. By the way, like, I've seen a lot of great older shit because of my grandma. Like, I mean, Golden Girls is, you already know how I feel about Golden Girls.
Yeah, it's a classic. I watched a little bit last night.
She put me on. There was a show that the Dench was on. I don't remember the show, but I always remember her going, "Oh, custard tarts," or something like that. And I love the show. It was funny to me, you know what I mean? So just hearing those accents. And one thing about me,
that was dude, As Time Goes By. That's a classic, man. That was filmed in the early 90s. I've seen that too. That was actually on BBC. Judi Dench was in that, and very funny. She also actually, in the beginning of that show, had brown hair. As a random fact. Yeah, which we all view her as gray haired now.
Fucking Mr. Bean. You got, I mean, there's so much, dude. And by the way, in saying that, for somebody that does voices and loves to do voices, and like it's an art form to me sometimes. I feel this way about voices, like the same way that, like, if Basquiat were next to me for some reason, because he's dead, so I guess he'd be a zombie in this instance. But anyway, if Basquiat was next to me and we both looked at some art, assuming he still has his eyes, if we looked at art, he would see something completely different, and I would see something completely fucking different. He would see it in like a whole other different dimension. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel when I hear voices. Like sometimes I'll just be like staring at people's mouths because I'm copying what you're saying. Like I'm almost downloading your voice, essentially. You know what I mean? So like I'll look at people's lips, their mouth, you know, whatever. Like when certain fluctuations come out, you know, sometimes somebody will have this part of their lip up, you know what I mean, or like whatever. I pay attention to that because like you and I could hear something and I would hear it completely differently. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like instant now where I'll hear something and in my head I'll compute or come up with or decide rather if I can do that voice. You know what I mean? Like there's just something about hearing something in people's voices or
pick it up.
Different accents and everything like that, dude, that I just pay so much attention to. So I love hearing different accents. I love hearing different voices.
Me too. And I think it's a really cool thing about being a human. It's still kind of a mystery to me how many voices all have developed in different regions and different places, but it is always dope. I think that's why I love just having international friends or trying to always meet international people. Because I love hearing their opinions on things, what their thoughts are, because, you know, it is a different kind of culture. It is a different part of the world. And, you know, a little lesson for anybody listening, open your mind to other cultures and languages. And like, you know, Austin said, get out of Louisville. That's one thing, but not even if you're in Louisville, just explore, be open-minded, try some different food tonight. I mean, if you've had the same fucking burger and steak every night for 1 week or something, go try some Thai food, go try something Oriental, go try Chinese food, or go try Ethiopian food, anything that you can try. Start being open-minded, because you're going to learn things. You're going to find out that you love different things and you want to try it, you want to see it, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't know that did this. I mean, a perfect example, Japanese culture. It's so fascinating. I mean, I went to a sushi place in Detroit on my trip, and they had like a toy machine. If you hit a certain amount of plates, it shot out a little toy, and it was like a Hello Kitty thing, but it's in the little toy tube. You see them sometimes at these game places. That shit's cool to me. And you're never going to learn about that shit or see it if you're just watching on TV. Like, yeah, you could turn on YouTube and be like, YouTube me a video of Japan. Okay, you're gonna see some mountains and some culture, whatever. Fucking go there, or go fucking go try the local Japanese place you've never tried. I mean, it's just and also too, another thing, and not to get, it's not even getting political, and it was something I wanted to say on this show, is that also realize that if a group does a decision, and what I mean by this is like Vladimir Putin for Russia or China does a decision, it does not mean all Russians are bad or all Chinese people are bad. And the reason and the reason I want to bring that up is this. In California here recently, all the Russian restaurants have been getting 1-star reviews. Like 75% of them are Ukrainian owned. They're just Russian cuisine. It doesn't mean that they support Putin because they put a Russian plate on the down. Same thing with Chinese food places. Just because they make Chinese food or speak Chinese, it doesn't mean they created COVID or they're evil or they support the Chinese government. They're nationalists. These attacks that are happening to Chinese people in New York, California, where they're just walking down the fucking street going to their house. Wake the fuck up. Quit taking this shit so personal. It's so easy to get mad at a certain group. Like, even viewing back of like of any group, you can't be like, just because, like, it goes back to even the 9/11 days. Not because not all Muslims and Islamic people are terrorists. I mean, it just, you have to wake up and realize, until you put yourself in their shoes and walk a day in their life, they're in fear every day. Do you think that some Russian person wanted to wake up that lives in maybe Kansas, and everyone knows they're Russian because their last name? Do you think they want to go to work and have the 5 jackasses that are working maybe in the other department go, that fucker terrorist, he sucks too? Yeah. So it really is just something I wanted to say. I heard a lot about that in the past couple of days about, there's enough bullshit in the world. Before you fucking assume something, get your facts straight. I mean, if somebody walks into your office and they're wearing a goddamn Chinese flag around them and it says death to America and death to you on their forehead, that's a different story. But just because they fucking have a Chinese restaurant maybe that they own and their kid's still in public school, if your kid, it's like they don't need to be attacked. They don't need to be belittled. They have nothing to do with it. So just realize sometimes the fight isn't always with the person that looks like that person. And it's just some lesson I want people to kind of take in. And if you don't get anything from this episode, just be better. That's all.
Yeah. At the very fucking least, at least try not to be a douchebag anymore. It's just like,
yeah, it's
grouping anybody into anything, you know what I mean? Just without checking your facts or anything like that is obviously going to create some problems. So I'm there with you 1,000% on that one.
And it's just such a it's so sad that I've even seen people nowadays, like at German restaurants, other restaurants, just because somebody in the past, maybe a group or regime, they like to use that word a lot, maybe calls some shitty acts. You know, you don't have to go burn a flag or go attack that person's place. And you hear that a lot and you see that. And so luckily, I feel like me living in Louisville, people are a little bit more diverse and open to different cuisines and different ethnic cultures and stuff. But you venture out of Louisville, you're not going to run into that. So just remember, like I said, do better and always, sometimes stay in your lane. I mean, that's just that's the easiest way to say it.
Definitely. And not to take it to a negative, but on the opposite end of the spectrum, man, you do have to be wary of these people who are friendly with you at work or, you know, in public or something like that. Because these same people, dude, and I've seen a couple of them, man. I've worked with a couple people throughout my years, man, that like they're cool at work, but man, like when you leave and they're like, somebody will like drop a racial slur or something, and you'll just be like, I'm sorry, did you think I was with that shit? Like, why did you feel comfortable enough to say that around me, you know, blah blah. So in the same aspect, man, of not being a douchebag and not stereotyping everybody, at the same time, everybody isn't your friend, you know what I mean? So that's another thing, especially if you're a foreigner, if you're a minority, anything like that, man. A lot of people, it's scary, and it sucks that I have to say this, but man, I do want everybody to support, you know, everybody and be peaceful and this, that, and the other. But unfortunately, that's the way that the world is, man. So on the opposite end of the spectrum, you do have to be wary about these people who are seemingly accepting and who are seemingly friendly and this, that, and the other, because they'll go home and talk about the same race and whatever that you are, you know what I mean, in a derogatory manner.
And that's a lesson that, you know, I had to kind of take into consideration this past weekend working at the Arcade Expo. A gentleman that I knew that I saw there, I know he kind of had shitty beliefs, and I know that he's a little off just here recently on some of the stuff he said. And he, you know, of course, he comes over, tries to say what's up. I keep it polite. I'm in my post. I can't make a big scene, but you know, I'll be honest. You know, it's in the back of my mind the whole time when he's like, "Hey, how you been? What's up? How's life?" Because at the end of the day, I'm not gonna forget the bullshit that you did. I mean, I can forgive, but it's hard for me to ever forget. And so I just, you know, you're completely right, because they can look like the most friendly person. They could be dressed in regular clothes, but they could be a monster inside, and they could literally be 5'5". I mean, it just doesn't matter. Female, male, anything. And it's the same thing with dating. I mean, there's females that have horrible intentions, and there's males that have horrible intentions, because there's some fucking evil in the world. But on a positive note, I do want to say this. It is getting warmer. The weather's getting nicer. You know, baseball's coming back. A lot of summer, spring activities are coming back. Being at that expo and just being out and about here the past couple of weeks, going on some walks and stuff when it's outside, it's a good feeling to see people out. I'm just going to say that. It's just good to see people out and about, walking around. They've been out, but you can just tell people are out and enjoying it. They're not freezing. Yeah. And they got a little warmth on their skin. So, hey, here's another little recommendation. Go out for a walk. Go get some warm. Go eat on the patio. Do something outside this week before the week's over. Because
fucking stranger. If they're strange and you feel in fear of your life, obviously cut that conversation short. But
yes.
I love talking to new people and making a new connection with people. You know what I mean? And that goes back to, like I said, like the people that support me with my comedy and stuff like that. Some of these people are the greatest people that I've ever met in my life, but I would never know that if we didn't, you know, have a conversation, or if I wouldn't have responded to them saying something about my comedy and being supportive and this, that, and the other, or complimentative, you know. So
sometimes your best friend can become a stranger. I mean, or sometimes a stranger can become your best friend. You never know.
Dude, they would. Shout out. You were talking about gaming earlier. Shout out to Cholo Ramirez, man. Dustin Ramirez, man. Cholo. That's my brother from another, dude. And we met on fucking Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Iri Kunishi, Emma. Emma, all these people that I've met just through online, and Annette, who I want to try to get here on season 2. Met her online. We still haven't met in person, and been friends with these people for over a decade. So it's a great feeling, and sometimes it's good to just.
Gaming brings people together, bro.
It really does.
Together. We went to this I think it was called Ignite. Do you remember way back in the day? I don't remember what it's called off the top of my head now, but there was like this little corner right there by St. Rita's on Preston, right across from
by Southern. Yeah, by Southern High School.
Yeah, right across from there. In that corner, there was like a gaming lounge, and like multiple computers, this and the other. So we went to one this past weekend for one of the friends' kids' birthdays. And it was this huge fucking lounge of like big TVs or computers and monitors and this, that, and the other.
Like a LAN party? They call it
Yeah,
like a winning
but
party or
it was
whatever.
awesome, dude. And like that's why I say, man, gaming definitely brings people together, man. In that same instance, man, just meeting new people and like opening yourself up to meeting new people is one of the best things you can do, man. Now,
Two things
obviously,
in life, the two things in life that have actually brought me closer to people that I never thought it would. Well, three things: sports, just growing up as a kid, but the two things as an adult: gaming, which you're
or,
right, when I do game, and also
or
marijuana, weed.
oh, I was going with orgies. Sorry.
Oh, orgy. I mean, orgy.
What?
I mean, you can say orgy, but I'm saying, yeah, sex definitely. I've met some good chicks over the years, but I'm saying when it comes to weed, it's another. That's such a networking
It's the language of
outlet.
life.
It
The
really
language.
is. I've met so many cool people just through smoking, and it just and I think I'm gonna meet more. And it's a really cool thing and cool culture.
This is translatable in any fucking language.
Exactly.
In any language. In any language. Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. Yes. So, Austin, we're about to wrap up here. I want to say thank you. I was honored. I had a blast. I had fun. Time flew by so quickly. Your journey has been incredible. I'm so proud of it. I know it's not over.
No.
My journey's not over, and I love the support we have for each other. I want you to do two things before we sign off. Number one, I want you to shout out anybody you haven't shouted out yet. And number two, I want you to shout out your social media headlines and maybe anything upcoming here.
Man, all my family back home, you know, you are my comedy family, Justin Tab, Weston Pookie, Kimbrough, William McKenzie, there's too many people to name, but all of them back home, and all my new family up here in Chicago, Fab Monroe, Mo Good, you got Kevin White is all over the place. Mike Knight, man, like I said, dude, it's a new journey for me up here. I'm excited about it, and I just want to keep getting my foot in some doors up here.
And shout out to Monique. Shout out to Monique. I want to just shout out to Mo.
GOAT, baby. The GOAT, baby.
Killing it in Egypt, killing it all over the world. Female basketball superstar. Monique is the beast.
It's 3, right? You saw that clip I posted.
Yeah. Oh, she's a beast. And I just want to say I'm very proud of Monique. Her journey's not over either. She's doing world-class stuff. He's got her tattoo on his top arm. I've done a podcast with her on one of Austin's shows, and she's been my friend since middle school. And I just I love and care about her deeply. So shout out to Monique. Very, very proud of her. Had to say something about her on the show. But Austin, give out your social media where people can reach out.
Facebook, Austin Rich or comedian Austin Rich. Instagram, A_RICH4. Snapchat is AC_Rich3. And I'm also on TikTok. I believe that is Rich502. I can't remember. But I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, A_Rich4. I'm on all of them. So man, check me out. I'm on YouTube, Rich502. Like I said, more content coming. I'm going to be recording a lot more stuff. So as much as whatever you all can do, man, share it, support it, like it, dislike it, whatever. You know, I like all of it, man.
And he's been seen on World Star. He's been seen online. Definitely reach out. Chicago area, from Louisville. And, he's going to be touching other cities too in the future. And, and I look forward to having him again on the show down the road. But Austin, thank you again. I want to tell everybody, thank you for listening. Only got a few more episodes of this season. Then I'm going to take a few month break, relax, get my head back, just kind of cleared, because it's a grind. It's working hard. So I'm ready. I'm excited to get season 2 in the books. It's always an accomplishment. And I'm really excited to where this podcast has come. So I'm excited for the last few guests. This season's been incredible. And thank you to Zoom again for being able to record in Chicago of Austin. So shout out to Zoom. You're doing fantastic work. But yes, vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com, vibingwithsleazy, the podcast on Facebook and Instagram. Reach out, send love, and keep downloading and supporting. We're on all platforms. But again, if you are bored, stuck, or you just don't know what to do today, go try something new. Get outside. Go try a different culture and enjoy life. But we are out. Peace.
All right, peace.